All right, here we go. We have one of the most dopest artists like in the game right now, straight out of Markham, Dutchie. How are you doing today, man?
I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. My name is Dutchie. And like homie said, I'm from Markham. I'm representing 905.
Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. Now, I've been seeing you put in like a lot of work lately and all that, you know? Like, I know recently you just had a show, just like a couple days back and all that. You had, I think you mentioned that you had like Fame Holiday on there. A lot of other like people showed up too, like in Brampton. Like, heard it was like a pretty dope event from there and all that, you know?
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was 2 days ago. BTM threw the event. Bigger Than Me Productions held it at Calypso Huts. Had homie Fame Holiday pull up. Monte Biggs pulled up. Butters pulled up. Like a lot of dope acts. I did my thing. They did their thing, and yeah, man, it's just part of the journey. You know what I mean? Rocked out.
Yeah, man, nah, most definitely, you know, and you know, you actually have like a crazy like background, like even before like the whole like music release, you know, so you know, you were battle up rapping and all that, like free and all with like all the past battles you had, like one like two for Underground London or UGK London and all that, another one from like I think a college radio station, like you had like that battle from there, and then you know, I've seen your work with like Spitty as well, which is like very dope as well too. One of your recent songs, like Marathon 95 and all that, like very dope in that sense. And then, you know, your videos like on YouTube were also like very like unique. I think you only had like one music video so far, I think, which is for Narcos, like sort of like inspired by the TV show for a bit too. Like that was like kind of dope. And then also you've had like other singles too, like Overdose, and then like all these other like, you know, lyrical rap type stuff. Like I've been seeing it. It's pretty far so far, you know.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I try to keep my pen game strong. You know what I mean? So I have hip hop shit. So shit that's like underground hip hop, bars heavy, flow heavy, and then I try to get some updated shit. You know what I mean? Some melodic shit. Flow's nice, sounds good. Just try to be versatile as possible, and hopefully I can keep growing, and I know I will. So it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. Mm-hmm. So I actually want to start off like the story like right here in that sense to start from like the very beginning. So you grew up in Markham. That's correct.
Yeah, Markham Steels.
True. So like, which ends do you grow up by like in Markham, and what was like the environment like for you? Would you say you had like a very decent childhood back then, or would you say it was different?
Yeah. It wasn't like no crazy ass. Like everyone has their own stories. Everyone has their own wars and glory days. You know what I mean? Like, I have my hate and love for the block, but at the end of the day, I don't regret nothing. I love the people I met. A lot of my brothers are from there. And it was dope. It was dope. Honestly, I found everyone was a fan of hip-hop, but there wasn't necessarily anybody stepping up and doing it. There was a couple of heads. Like, I remember back in the day, there was someone, remember what's his name, Vital? I remember Vital? I remember some guy named, he was doing his thing at a point, and then we had a couple other people doing their thing, but no one really elevating and putting Markham on the map. So I was always a fan of hip hop. I loved it. I've been rapping since, like I told you earlier, grade 4, and I had ciphers all the way up. And homies would always tell me, "Yo, drop a song." Always planned on doing it, and then once I did it, I was like, "Fuck it, this is what I want. I know I'm not going back," and I got love. People showed me love, and yeah.
Nah, most definitely, man. I know. As you mentioned before, like you were like the only like one putting on like for Markham for a bit too, but like Markham, like even back then, was it well known as like an industry like and back then for music, or just like as a community at the time?
It was just community. Not really anybody, like I said, not really anybody doing much back then. Now we got crazy people. Like I said, I'm doing my thing. I got my brothers from Money City doing their thing. I got my homies Nuage, they're doing their crazy thing. And a lot of my homies are doing their thing now, so best believe that in a year in time, couple years time, however long it takes, the rest of the world will know about Markham, and not just Markham, but 905 and as a whole. You know what I mean? They'll see what the talent is.
I think like right now, like it's not really known like for music like at that time too. Like I know like a couple like YouTubers like were from there back then, but I think that's like only it from there. But I think right now, like aside from like Mississauga and like Richmond Hill and Vaughan and all these other places too, I do feel like the East End and like Markham are actually like on a rise right now, like with Pickering, Ajax, Oshawa, like up north Markham too, and all that. Like even like Milliken too. Like I think those cities might be on the rise like for a bit as well.
No, definitely, definitely. And even backtracking a little bit, like you said, there's a couple of YouTubers in Markham too, like Lily Singh. She's a big one, and yeah, definitely. Like I said, we can hold our weight. We're gonna be definitely up there. And but back in the days, people didn't know about a lot of towns and a lot of cities, and yeah, we're just gonna keep doing our thing.
Yeah, man. So I want to start it off in your introduction to music. So, like, what was like your first introduction to music in that sense?
Dancehall. Dancehall was actually my shit at first. I fuck with dancehall heavy. Vibes Cartel, Movado, Mongolo, those guys, and then I listened to rap. I definitely listened to rap. I listened to like 50 and all these bands. Once I heard like Massacre by 50, all that shit, I fell in love with rap. And then Nas was definitely my favorite rapper. Always studied his shit, learned from his shit. And honestly, after a while, I just took it upon myself to be like, yo, I can do this. Like, I know I can do this. From spitting along to these guys to practicing my own bars, my own poems. Even before that, like writing stories and stuff like that, I knew I could elevate that game. And yeah, that's what I kept doing and stuck with it.
Yeah. Nah, most definitely. So mind if I ask, so like the whole like dancehall stuff, was that like from your family like that introduced you to that, or were there like any like people that introduced you to like dancehall in that sense?
Nah, so my older heads actually were into, it's funny, like a lot of these guys were always into dancehall, soca stuff. We're all Tamil, so you know what I mean, you wouldn't really expect that, but they would more so be into it for different purposes, like DJing and mixes and all that stuff for parties and whatnot. But I really liked it, you know what I mean? I really fucked with it. I'd be rapping along, not even understanding half the shit I'm saying at the time. I'm like, 8 years old and shit. But yeah, it was something about it that really stuck with me, like how they could just hit the beat, every pocket, the melody was crazy. And yeah, I just fucked with it so heavy, and then yeah, just brought it up.
Most definitely, because I think with dancehall, it's actually one of the most like influential like forms of like music within urban music, with hip hop, R&B, and all that. Like initially, hip hop was actually first introduced, within like the whole dancehall community and reggae, with DJs like spinning and scratching like certain beats and all that, like using like influential acts like Sister Nancy and all that, and like Peter Tosh and like the Wailers, using their unique vibes and recreating like a certain like 2-step, 3-step type beats and all that. So
no, 100p, and like you see it used a lot of the times, like you said, Sister Nancy's like Bomb Bomb. You've heard that in how many commercials and like how many like it's crazy.
Most definitely. So aside from being introduced to like Nas and Jay-Z and all these other artists, how did you get into like rapping like on your own, and what inspired you to become like a rapper and artist?
So when I was younger, I used to be a good writer, actually. I used to write a lot of stories. And once I got into rap, like started fucking with it more, I was like, yo, I can actually do this because I'm already nice at writing. Let me just rhyme this shit. And it's funny too, because it didn't translate well at first. Like my bars were pure ass. I had no bars. I was rhyming cape with tape and not making sense. And it was funny because I tried showing this to my family, like cousins, siblings, and I would get shitted on. But the funniest thing was I was like, yo, I know I'm sick. Even though this is shit, I know I'm sick. Kept with it, and yeah, over time, like you hear it all the time, consistency is key, right? I was consistent as fuck with just learning how to hold my own, hold the sword in this ring, you know what I mean? And yeah, eventually the skills just locked in, and it became natural after that. And then I became who you see today.
No doubt. I know, like in some cases too, like most family members or people like within your family might be sort of like against music in some cases too. They would rather like pursue like for you to get like an education or to go as far as like getting like a good 9 to 5. I don't know if your family wanted you to diverge away from music to pursue something.
Hondo P, Hondo P.
Would it be like something different?
No, definitely. My parents hated that shit. Like anytime it's funny too because I never told them I wanted to be a rapper at first. I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I said like every other kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a chef at first because I love food, but then I was like, fuck making this shit. I love eating it. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, after I told them, because once I knew I wanted to be it, I was like, fuck it. I showed them, got no love, but it wasn't no hate either. It wasn't like, you're not gonna make it if you try, da 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 da. It was more so, yo, be smart. Like, this isn't gonna work out. Do this. This is gonna get you there. I was just thinking bigger, and I took a chance, and I took a risk. And after a while, once they seen the resilience and seen that I was real with it and actually following through, like, started buying my own shit, set up and all of that, started actually, they would hear me practicing 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you know what I mean? Coming into my room, yo, shut the fuck up, da da da, we got work in the morning. But once they seen that consistency, they're like, all right, what more can they do but support, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, most definitely. So, you know, prior to like everything else, you know, you were a battle rapper at one point. So how did you get into battle rap by any chance?
I loved watching battle rap when I was a kid. I used to watch Grind Time, KOTD, all of that shit. And it was actually me and my cousins, we always loved watching that shit. And I was still rapping at this time too. And after a while, just like rap, I was like, yo, I can do this shit. You know what I mean? And even when I was in elementary school, like when we had ciphers, we would be roasting each other. It's not like we'd rap along, big each other up, but at the same time we're like, yo, fuck you and your shoe, da da da. You know what I mean? We'd get at each other, and that's what also built our skin to be thicker, our sword to be nicer, and in a more attack mode. And yeah, eventually I was like, fuck it, let me do this shit.
Yeah, no, most definitely not. I actually definitely saw the video and all that, and I think that battle like was pretty clear that it was in your favor and all that. You know, I think with him, he was using like too many like cocaine references from a person who might have not experienced like that lifestyle too and all that. So it was kind of like interesting. And then, you know, you came in like twice as harder, like within punchlines, within like bars and all that. And, you know, I want to diverge into that. So tell me more about your battles with people like Jimmy and Shiesty and Mr. Mumbles. Like, what would you say is your best battle, and what would be like your worst, like from what you've experienced?
I would say, honestly, my best battle would obviously be my most recent one, which would be the Mumbles battle. The reason I would say it's my best battle is because I was my most, you know what I mean, updated version of myself. I was on my shit. And on top of that, I've already been through battles at that point, 2 battles, so I knew what I was doing. My worst battle? I guess the Jimmy battle, just because that was straight freestyle. That wasn't a written battle. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was a bad battle. I feel like everything's just part of the growth, you know what I mean? Like, if you watch that battle all the way up to the Shiesty battle, to the Mumbles battle, you see different stages of Dutchie. And yeah.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. So, what advice would you give to anyone that wants to pursue like battle rap in that sense?
Just do it. But you have to be confident. You have to make sure that, like I said earlier, you have to be able to hold your sword in the ring, you know what I mean, in the battle. It's that thick skin, and you have to be able to evolve. But at the end of the day, just do it. Fuck. Don't be scared.
Most definitely. Are you still like battle rapping to this day, or like right now you're just stopping until like for the notice for a bit?
So right now I'm more focused on music, but I'm always open to battles. Like, talking to some people, trying to line up some things, but like I said, my focus is more music. Yeah, I'm always open.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So, getting back into your music right now, so what artists or genres were you like mainly influenced by, and do you know if you want to like work with like any other like artists like someday, like, you know, either like famous or non-famous in the studio someday?
So though, my biggest influences definitely would be like we talked about earlier, Nas. Old school, sophisticated, killer vibes. Like, he was just crazy with it. He taught me how to flow right and like how to get my message across properly. Then I have Lil Durk, definitely. He's more my modern day top artist, because like he flows melodically like crazy. Like it's like he's pulling melodies out of bag. You know what I mean? Like talks pain. You know, he sells pain in another way. And definitely Nipsey. Definitely Nipsey. Nipsey not just taught me, but taught everybody else how to be a boss and how to just stand on your shit. You know what I mean? Do what you gotta do. And yeah, those are definitely my biggest influences in music. People that I would want to work with, all three of them, fuck. I'd want to work with, shit, I want to work with my brothers. I want to work with Money City, I want to work with Nuage, I want to work with Norman, Spitty, you know what I mean? I want to work with all my brothers and everybody else that wants to work. I love making music, I love the art. So yeah.
Yeah, almost definitely, man. So for first-time listeners who might have not heard about you before or your music in that sense, like how would you describe your music to them and like what can they expect from you in that sense?
So, I'd say I make hip-hop music, obviously, but I talk about my experiences, talk about my hopes, my wants, you know what I mean? And I feel if you care about not only how the music sounds, but what's being said, it'll definitely fuck with my music, one way or another. And yeah, I'm always evolving, so I'm always just trying to learn to do new things. I feel like I started doing this for therapy, just because I was misunderstood and I just try to understand things. And then it more so turned into a hobby and now hopefully into a career. And yeah.
Stuff. And you know, getting into your creative process for a bit too. So, what is your process like for creativity, like when making music? And what would like a day in the like studio or just like recording or making music be like for you?
Shit, what you see right now? Kicked up with my dog, smoking. You don't even have to be smoking, just chilling, just catching a vibe, just thinking. You know what I mean? My music's about different experiences, so like I can be at the studio and I can feel one way and we can literally make a hit out of like nothing, you know what I mean? Or it can be pre-planned. Walk into the studio with something already on my mind, from whether it's pent-up things or something I want to talk about, you know what I mean? It's just, inspiration just comes, however it comes.
You know, usually I ask other artists like if they ever like needed like alcohol or like weed to be creative, like in that, to be in that element too. So like I think for you, would you say you would need like certain stuff like alcohol or weed to be in that element, or?
Nah, definitely not. Just because I didn't start writing, or I didn't start making music because of weed, you know what I mean? Like I've been making music for time. A lot of these artists hop in the studio, get drunk, make a hit, blow up, which is crazy, good for them, but it's because of that got them that hit, basically, you know what I mean? And you have to replicate that, whereas if you have it within, you have it within. I just find, fuck, me smoking just adds to it, you know what I mean? I can catch a different vibe. And yeah.
Sure, nah, most definitely, man. You know, it's actually crazy too, because I don't think like a lot of the unique songs come from a lot of like unique aspects in life. And I don't know if you know, like within like this Postmodern situation, like he talked about like making like a lot of his like lyrics, you know, for like his latest project and for other like songs, like, you know, by using the bathroom and all that. So I don't know, like what are your thoughts on that, like on, you know, making like a hit or a song like anywhere and all that, like based on like writing and such like that.
So what's my thoughts on making music based on?
Like just not even from like that situation too, just even being like in that element where he made it, like, you know, like in the washroom, you know, like writing these lyrics.
Gotcha.
Do you feel like in that sense too, you can make like a hit like anywhere in that sense too?
100%, bro. I used to be working at Tim Hortons thinking of bars on my break and shit, you know what I mean? Pulling on my phone at the cubicle at Weedman, and I worked there. After a while, that's honestly why I was like, fucking 9 to 5. You know what I mean? That was one of the reasons why I said fucking 9 to 5. Because I was like, yo, I could do other shit. I want to do other shit, and it's showing. So, 100%. If you want to do it, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So, with songs like Marathon 95, Overdose, Narcos, Showdown, and Dance into Darkness, what were like the creative processes and inspirations for those songs?
So, Marathon 95. Actually, we'll start it backwards. So, I'll do Showdown was honestly Showdown, Dance into Darkness, all of those, my old school tracks. That was just me getting my thoughts out at the time. You know what I mean? I wanted to rap so bad, and I just had to hop into a booth. So I did my shit. That was me, just first process. Didn't really have any prior thoughts other than just showing people, yo, I'm that guy. Marathon 95, which I dropped earlier this year. That was inspired by Nipsey's passing, and just showing people that, yo, get shit done, hustle, and do what you gotta do. Keep it pushing, because at the end of the day, no one gives a fuck. So you should. Yeah.
All right. So just getting back like onto the other questions right now. So one of your main like contributions like within like music and your sound like right now is like with your collaborations with Spitty, who's actually like one of the most popular like artists like right now. You know, being featured on Rolling Stone India with Much, with all these like other platforms too, like supporting his music in that sense, and like him performing at like bigger events like Canadian Music Week and all these other venues. So how did you manage to work with him, and what was like working with him like in terms of creating music?
So I met Spitty a while back at the Stew. It's a spot my homie Kevin holds and owns. And we had a show together, actually, exhibition. And from there we kicked it off. We made our first song, Infinity. Crazy. Felt like we had a similar style, you know what I mean? We had a similar liking. We fucked with the same artist. And yeah, he was a sick ass person. He was a dope ass person. And yeah, we made more songs. Made a track with Norman, crazy ass song, Clockwork. And working with him is dope. It's dope. You learn a lot. Homie's doing his thing, so that's inspiring too. He's 9'5", born too, so it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to see someone that you fuck with actually doing his shit. Homie's performing in Brampton, performing in Saga, putting people on, showing people what to do. So yeah, it's crazy. Shout out to homie.
Yeah. So like, what were some things that you know you guys like learned from each other that you know you guys like both implement in your music today in that sense?
For him, I could definitely say consistency. He's definitely one of, if not the hardest working underground artist I'm seeing right now, you know what I mean? He's doing his thing. He's grinding. For me, it's hunger. It's the thought of and the reality of there's no fucking way I can fail, you know what I mean? And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me learning and going over obstacles.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. And you know it's crazy too because with the South Asian like music scene and like even like the Indo-Caribbean like music scene like in Toronto, you know, you have like a lot of unique talents coming there. Like I think Nav like was the one that kind of like jump started to become like bigger than ever for a lot of like South Asian and Indo-Caribbean artists like to get by and all that. But then you know you also have like dope acts like Dopeface who's from like Deadbeat Posse, you know, a very dope artist from there who even had like a song with Stephen Cannon and all that, with Spitty, with Lily Sin sometimes too, like if she wants to create music and like, you know, even you and all that. So do you feel like, and even like in other countries too, with MIA and Lil Hell, who's actually like an artist from like Atlanta. So do you feel like it's as bigger than ever for like a lot of like South Asian and Indo-Caribbean artists to get by like in the music scene and all that?
Before, definitely. Now, not so much, just because, like you said, there's so many people popping off right now, and have been popping off for time. If anything, I feel like it makes it sicker, because look at some of the biggest artists right now. Like, rest in peace to the Muswala. Bro, he had love from everybody, you know what I mean? Like, every different culture, every different vibe. And like, even hear the samples right now. And like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, no, definitely, I feel like it was harder before, but not now, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, being like a South Asian like artist in hip hop, did you ever feel like you had to like prove yourself to be respected in a hip hop culture, while like in hip hop culture, or like just like even in hip hop, while introducing your own culture to others in that sense?
No. If you have something to say and you say it properly and you say it the right way, it'll get felt by who it needs to get felt by, you know what I mean? That's how I felt always.
Most definitely. You know, I'm actually interested in this, like in that sense too. But how did you get your stage name, Dutchie, like by any chance?
So, back when I was a kid, like 14, 15, my name was Mo Money Dutchie. Well, that was like my hand homies used to call me. And eventually, when I started rapping, I tried figuring out a name, and then one of my homies was just like, "Yo, just cut off Mo Money and just stick with Dutchie." And honestly, from there, that's when I just stuck with it, you know what I mean? Everybody started calling me Dutchie, and then she just was my stage name.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. I know that we talked about this like a little bit in that sense too, but Sidhu Musewala, he was recently murdered just like a month ago. So how did you react to that situation, and did you ever felt like he played like a pivotal role in expanding the culture of hip hop and Punjabi music for South Asians to be a part of it?
So when I heard about it, it was crazy. I wasn't really in tune to his music, so I got introduced to him later than everybody else. But it was crazy when I was finding out more about him, and nah, he definitely played a role. He definitely played a role. You could see it. You could see it. And yeah, rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to him. His music will live on. Legacy will live on. And shit, that just shows people that's you never know, you know what I mean? And just, like I said earlier, for Marathon 95, you just gotta do what you gotta do and keep stepping.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, like there's like this interesting fact that you know he loved like a lot of like Toronto artists and even like with UK acts too. I know in one of his songs he worked with Black Boy Twitch for like this very unique gangsta type rap song and all that. And then
You know what's crazy about that? My homie Beats by Felix engineered that, and he's the same one that engineered Marathon 95. Crazy. He's a legend. Shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie. He's sick with it.
yeah, nah, most definitely, man. And you know, like you know, just to get by, you know, like he also worked with Mist, Stefan Don, and like Steel Bangles with one of their other hit songs, and then also he worked with like Mozzie and Mr. Capone. So, you know, with his love for hip hop, it's like to the extreme too, because it actually felt like more genuine than like everything else too, you know. So rest in peace to him, like too in that sense, you know, and just to see the way.
No, 100%, 100%, 100%.
So, you know, being an artist from the GTA, so how do you feel about the Toronto GTA music scene right now? Like at the moment, do you feel like there should be some changes on the direction of where the scene should go to, or do you feel like it's fine the way it is?
Sure. I mean, the biggest topic at the end of the day is like, if we're really talking about the scene, is the violence, obviously, you know what I mean? But music-wise, we're headed the right way. We got a bunch of people that are popping off and putting on for the city and showing people. Like, you know what I mean? The biggest artist right now, Drake. But if we're talking about the underground, nah, we're definitely doing our thing too. Couple years, man. Give it time. The rest of the world's gonna see. Yeah.
And you know, like just even talking about the underground, like I do feel like there is like two different undergrounds. the one with the whole like street stuff with Pressa, Top Five, and all these other people, and then you're underground with like you and Spitty and all these other people like affiliated and all that. So,
I wouldn't even say Pressa and Top Five and all these guys are underground. These guys, Pressa made it. Top Five made it. Like, at least in my eyes, you know what I mean? Like, I would view us as underground at this point. And bro, they're putting on. Like, Pressa's putting on, Top Five's putting on, Doobie's putting on. Like, all these guys are putting on. And bro, look at Rolling Loud Toronto. You know what I mean? That's a big scene. People are finally like seeing the acts and seeing how crazy Toronto is. So yeah, no, it's dope. It's dope. It's definitely dope.
most definitely, man. How do you feel about that by any chance? Do you feel like it's actually like beneficial in Toronto in all aspects, or do you feel like it might be like a little bit over the edge in that sense?
About rolling around Toronto?
Yeah.
Nah, that's dope. That's super dope for the city. It just depends on how the city deals with it, right? It's just like anything, like given the opportunity, it's crazy. Done right, then that's gonna take the city to the next level. It's gonna really improve things. But yeah, we'll see.
Most definitely. So as well, how do you feel about the state of like, hip hop and rap today? Do you feel like it's at a great place today, or do you still think there's some problems that need to be changed in that sense?
I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Like nowadays, I just listen to who I like. You know what I mean? I try to put myself onto new people, but I also don't care at the same time. You know what I mean? From what I do know, hip hop is crazy right now. There's a lot of dope acts. I feel like style's just constantly evolving. At first, old heads used to be called haters because they didn't like the style that was coming out. And then our generation was called haters because we weren't fucking with the newer style. But at the end of the day, you just gotta find the dope shit in it. So everything's art. Everything's art.
Most definitely. I do feel like there is like a sort of like sound for everyone to like listen to in that sense, like for certain genres, subgenres too. I think with mainstream rap, with like Baby, Dirk, and all these other people, like everyone can enjoy it in that sense too. And then you have your like underground like boom bap rap with like Griselda, with Freddie Gibbs, Rock Marcy, Mac Homie, all these other people. Then you have your SoundCloud type stuff with like Sofago, Ken Carson, your female bass rap with every other female artist like going on right now, and then even like all in between and all that. So I do feel like there is like something for everyone to like listen to in that sense too. And so just to end off with these like last two questions, do you have any like short-term, like long-term goals for your music in that sense?
Short-term goals? A lot of goals. Just constantly make music. Constantly grow my style, my business sense. Just make sure that I'm executing everything that I plan, you know what I mean? Long-term goals, just get to where I need to go and make impacts, get on the scene, just like every other artist. But to do it my way, And have fun with it. Have fun with it.
Yeah, nah, most definitely, man. So what's next for you in terms of any of the music or creative projects and so forth? And do you have any like final words you'd like to say for any creative or any person out there pursuing their dreams?
Yeah, so June 19th, that's tonight. I got a new song dropping, Another Level. Crazy, crazy song. Tap in. It's another song, part of the journey, you know what I mean? I got a lot of things planned. I got tapes, a lot of producers on them, or a lot of producers I'm working with, a lot of people I'm working with, but I don't want to give away too much, you know what I mean? I just like to keep on doing. And just stay tuned to 9-5. That's the brand, that's the homies. I'm Dutchie. I'm an artist. If you fuck with dope music, if you fuck with great sound, great style, you definitely fuck with me. And appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you appreciate Lenza Yashu having me. It's definitely a dope movement. You should check them out. And stay tuned.
Most definitely. Dutchie, thank you for coming by, man, and I wish nothing but the best for you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. Yes, sir.
Until next time.
Peace.